Welcome to Camden Yards as the fans make their way in off Utah Street. It's Game 3 of a 3-game series between the Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, as always, joined by Jerry Remy. Welcome to Red Sox baseball. Well, the Red Sox are trying to salvage the third game of this series, and so far they've had their troubles this year against the Orioles.
They certainly have, and you know, the Orioles won the American League East last year, and you kind of measure yourself up to a team like that and see what you've got to do to get close to them. Well, the Red Sox at this point in the season have not got close to them. They are 3-6 against the Orioles so far this season, and you can see the Orioles outscoring the Red Sox 49-34. Look at the batting average. 304 for Baltimore, only 218 for the Red Sox. 30 extra base hits, only 18 for the Red Sox, and the ERA is incredible. 2.87 for Baltimore, 5.54 for the Red Sox. And the Orioles over the last couple of years have really dominated Boston. So, you know, when you look to a team who finished first in the division, you try to measure yourself up to how they went in the division last year and what you've got to do to improve to get there. The Red Sox have not come close to that to this point in the season. And the Red Sox have lost 4 of their last 5 here at Camden Yards, trying to rectify that situation tonight as they send Wade Miley to the mound for Boston. Miley has had his trouble against the O's, 10 earned runs in 9 1/3 innings, but he's 5-5 overall in the season. We're back with the first pitch from Camden Yards after this. Audi. Experience the new Audi A3 today. Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Toyota's website for deals via Toyota.com. Sullivan Tire and Auto Service. Thank you, New England, for 60 great years. The Kia Sorento. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at Southwest.com. Welcome back to Oriole Park at Camden Yards, the Brooks Robinson statue here at Camden Yards. Well, the Red Sox certainly did a victory in Game 3 as we check in with Garen Austin.
Thanks, Don. It's been a good month for Xander Bogaerts, who's batting .406 for the month and .296 for the season. Earlier today, manager John Farrell praised the shortstop and the value that he brings to the team.
You know, anytime you get a middle of the diamond player who's, you know, producing offensively as Xander is, and the progression he's made personally, he stabilizes the lineup, he stabilizes our defense, and he's come a long way in a year's time.
Now, Xander's certainly on a roll right now. Red Sox trying to get on a roll themselves with Xander in the middle as the Red Sox and Orioles play the final game of this series. Baltimore has taken the field, so let's check out the visiting Red Sox lineup. It is brought to you by your Eastern Hyundai dealers. Dustin Pedroia leads it off at second base with Brock Holt in right field. Hanley Ramirez back in left field defensively with David Ortiz back in the Red Sox lineup tonight. He's the DH with Mike Napoli at first base. Pablo Sandoval is at third. Xander Bogaerts bats seventh and at shortstop with Mookie Betts in center field eighth. And Blake Swihart does the catching and bats ninth. The opening day starter for the Orioles on the mound tonight. The starting pitcher presented by New England Nissan dealers. Chris Tillman's 12th start. Numbers have not been good for him so far this year. 3-7 with a 5.61 earned run average. 44 strikeouts at 31 walks. And opponents hitting at 286 against Tillman. His career against Boston has always been very good. 17 starts, 8-3 with a 2.63 earned run average.
The Orioles defense is brought to you by DraftKings, and they are third in the American League with 28 errors on the season. Manny Machado will be at third base, J.J. Hardy the shortstop, Ryan Flaherty at second, and Steve Pearce the first baseman. Left to right, Nolan Reimold, Adam Jones, and Delman Young, and Matt Wieters after a night off last night back in the lineup catching tonight.
Tonight's umpires are brought to you by Buick. Experience a new Buick lineup during this year's Sign and Drive. See your local Buick dealer today. Les Diaz behind the plate. Chris Guccione at first with Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, at second, and Corey Blazer, the umpire, at third. First pitch of the ball game in there for strike one to Pedroia. We are underway. Pedroia starting the game, hitting at .312. 8 homers and 23 runs batted in for Dustin. It's a fly ball down the left field line. Long run for Nolan Reimold towards the line. Reimold in foul ground makes the catch. Where available, this telecast can be heard in Spanish by selecting the SAP button on your television remote. Enjoy the game.
Buenas noches, amigos.
Well, good conditions again here tonight for the third and final game of this series. 88 degrees, a little warmer here tonight than it has been in the previous 2 games. Breeze out to right at 7 miles per hour, and the forecast partly cloudy for the remainder of the evening. Here is Brock Holt with one down in the inning. Brock Holt celebrating his 27th birthday. .305 average with a home run. 13 runs batted in. He's kind of settled into that 2 spot in the Red Sox order, with Mookie Betts dropping down further in the order, and tonight batting 8th. So unusual for Tillman to be struggling record-wise as he is.
Now, the strange part about it, he's really struggling here in Baltimore. 5 starts at home this season. He's 0-4 with an ERA of 7.50.
To give you an idea, the 7 losses, that's a career high of losses in a season. That was 2013 when he was 16-7. Right now, 3-7 on the year. Brock Holt fouls it off, and it remains 2-2.
I think the other number you look at for Tillman this year, the number of walks that he has on the season, which is quite high. 31 walks and 44 strikeouts in 59 1/3 innings.
Holt fouls off another, protecting the plate, and Tillman working at 93 miles an hour. Tillman pretty big. It's 6'5", 210 pounds. 26-year-old from Anaheim, California. Another guy part of that Eric Bedard deal that is legendary with the Seattle Mariners. Adam Jones coming over as part of that deal. George Sherrill ended up being the closer here for a while. Oh, some kind of deal for the Orioles, that is. Tillman's payoff pitch. And Holt drives one to left field. Nolan Reimold on the run, going back, and he will make the catch. Nolan Reimold with a long running catch back by the warning track. He's been tested twice here in the early going, 2 down.
I'll tell you, the outfield play in this series for the Baltimore Orioles has been absolutely outstanding. And Reimold, that ball was slicing away from him off the bat of the left-hander Holt. It's going away toward the foul line, and he's still able to track it down at full speed before he gets to the wall. Another dandy play by the Oriole defense.
Much appreciated by Chris Tillman. 2 down in the inning. Running all over the place out there is Nolan Reimold. Here is Hanley Ramirez. Spins out of the way of a breaking ball.
One more look at that catch out in left field, and you can see the ball kind of spinning away right there, but Reimold up to the challenge.
In there for a strike, a ball and a strike to Hanley Ramirez. Returned last night as the Red Sox DH after fouling a ball off his knee. And now back in the outfield after that foul ball off his knee and getting the start in left. David Ortiz back to the DH spot. And a swing and a miss. High heat at 93.
Elevating the fastball against Ramirez. They wanted to go away. Instead, they go up in the zone, and no contact on a ball that's out of the strike zone. Good mixture of all his pitches for Tillman.
Just missed off that outside edge. Hanley so far 1 for 5 in the series. Ramirez grounds it to deep third. Machado plants from short left, and the throw in time. Some defense has been turned in this series, but especially in this first inning by the O's. Baltimore coming up. Baltimore without a score as we head to the bottom of the first inning. Here come the Orioles, and Manny Machado made the last play last inning to end the inning. And there's strike 1 to Machado. Wade Miley on the mound tonight for Boston, and Machado toting a .270 average coming in. Leading off for the Orioles, now his 36th contest in that capacity as he fouls it off to the right. That's Red Sox starting pitcher presented by your local New England Audi dealers. 12th start of the year for Miley, 5-5. A little slip there at the end of the delivery, kind of looking at the landing spot. Some tough numbers for Miley against the Orioles. This is the other way, and a base hit for Machado. Let's check out the Orioles starting 9. Their lineup is brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. Manny Machado just singled. He's the third baseman with Nolan Reimold in left field. A couple of good catches in the first. Adam Jones in center field. Matt Wieters back in there tonight for the O's with Delman Young in right. Chris Davis, the DH, with J.J. Hardy, the shortstop. Steve Pearce at first base, and Ryan Flaherty, the Maine native, at second base, bats ninth. Mike Napoli holding on Machado, and they will check on him and get him. So there is that great move by Wade Miley as he picks off Machado on the first pickoff try of the night.
Yeah, Machado was not even ready for that. He was taking his lead off first base, and I'm not sure he even has gloves on. You could see that, and he's just picked off immediately. Now he's going to say his hand got back in there before the tag. They're taking a look at it right now in the Oriole dugout. But, you know, there's a case for a runner being out there that's not even ready for a pickoff attempt. He's putting on his sliding gloves. One more look at the move by Wade Miley. We know he's got a good one. He fools a lot of people and gets some pickoffs.
No challenge from the Orioles. They have taken a look and feel that he is out as well. So one down in the inning, and Nolan Reimold coming up here. Reimold returning to the Orioles, called up in game one, was 0 for 2 as he sends one down the right field line. Brock Holt headed over towards the line to make the catch for the second out here of the first inning.
The Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. They are 9th in the league with 35 errors on the season. Pablo Sandoval at third base, Sander Bogarts the shortstop, Dustin Pedroia at second, Mike Napoli the first baseman, Rivera, Spetz, and Holt in the outfield, and Swihart doing the catching for Miley.
Two down here in the bottom of the first inning for Adam Jones. 306 average coming into tonight's game. 9 homers and 31 runs batted in for Jones.
This is the part that gets me, Don. You know in the meetings before the game they're talking about Miley, right? And they're talking about what a great pickoff move he has. So you get on first base and you got a guy that's putting on his gloves as he's taking his lead. It just doesn't make any sense. And Miley picks him off.
Sure, Buck Showalter not pleased. After a leadoff base hit to start this inning, they erased Machado very quickly for first out of the inning. 18th career pickoff for Wade Miley. Jones hits it deep and far to left. Hanley Ramirez back at the wall, and that is gone. Adam Jones with his 10th home run of the year puts the Orioles on top 1-0. He did it with the glove last night. Tonight, a home run in his first at bat.
Yeah, it looked like the Red Sox were going to have a fairly easy 1-2-3 inning after the pickoff. Instead, Adam Jones gets a changeup that stays up in the zone and takes it out of the ballpark. Watch the location of this change. It stays up, out over the plate. A good job staying back by Adam Jones, and a 1-0 ball game.
Now Matt Wieters in the cleanup spot tonight. Appeared in the first game of the series, had last night off, back in there tonight, and hitting at .375 since his return. He is 6 for 16 after coming off the Tommy John surgery and a rehab stint. AA and AAA in the minor leagues for the Orioles. No 2 pitches, strike 3. Well, home run for Adam Jones. The difference in the game. It's 1-0 Baltimore after 1. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. A 1-0 Orioles lead thanks to the home run by Adam Jones in the first inning. A solo shot. Chris Tillman back on the mound. And David Ortiz back in the Red Sox lineup. Into that slow curveball that misses up and away. David at .219. 6 homers, 21 runs batted in. And last night off with a left-hander on the mound. Wei-Yin Chen getting the start in last night's ball game. Ortiz had gone 1 for 4 in the first game of the series. You see part of the reason that he was not in the lineup last night against the lefty. Just 114 against lefties. Back in there. 6 homers against right-handers. And ahead of the count 3-0. Red Sox dropping the first 2 games of this series. 6.5 back of the Yankees to start the day. As there is strike 1. Red Sox going home to play a Blue Jays team that's won 8 in a row. This is fouled back to the screen. Full count. Well, help NESN by taking a quick 2-minute survey and enter for a chance to win a VIP NESN experience at the ballpark next month. Visit NESN.com/survey during tonight's game for your chance to win. Swing and a miss. 93 on the fastball, and he strikes out Ortiz. Had been down 3-0.
Yeah, keeping the fastball away from David Ortiz to get the swing and miss. You look at the Mika pitch zone and everything, with the exception of 1 pitch away from Ortiz.
One down here in the second inning. Mike Napoli standing in. Napoli at 208, 9 homers and 25 runs batted in.
Between innings, Miley Swihart going over that pitch that they threw to Adam Jones, that changeup. Miley looks like he's saying he just kind of pushed it up the home plate, and he really didn't do very much except stay high, and Adam Jones took it out of the ballpark.
5th home run given up by Wade Miley on the year. He did give up 23 last year. 1-1 to Napoli is slap foul off to the right out of play. A 208 average for Napoli to start the night. Like 1 for 8 so far in the series. And a grounder up the middle. J.J. Hardy over to play it, and the throw in time. 5 in a row retired by Tillman to start the night. 2 down. Spring is here, and so are specially priced Red Sox student tickets. Tickets are available for every Sox game for just $9 for all students 15 and over. Visit redsox.com/students to take advantage of this great offer today.
Well, summer is here tonight. 88 degrees, as you mentioned, at the ballpark. Very humid tonight. Most humid night we've had since being here in Baltimore.
Pablo Sandoval jumping at that and fouling it off. Sandoval 1 for 7 so far in the series. Fastball up, he chased 1-2.
Yeah, 2 strikes on Sandoval, and he really hasn't thrown him a strike yet. Sandoval chasing a pitch here that's well out of the strike zone, high, about shoulder high.
Ground ball right side over is Steve Pearce. He'll flip it to Tillman for the out. Tillman's retired the first 6 Sox he's faced in the game. Orioles lead at 1-0. 1-0 Orioles on top of the Red Sox, and Delmon Young leading it off here for Baltimore. Delmon Young, Chris Davis, and J.J. Hardy expected to bat here in the inning. Young will pop it up into shallow right. Pedroia out, Holt in, and Brock calls off Dustin to make the catch in short right field. Good communication there between Pedroia and Holt. Well, Saturday on Dining Playbook, Jenny and Billy come to you from Salvatore's in Medford. Hear about the new chef initiative to make creative dishes and find out the 3 best lobster rolls in the city. All that and more on Dining Playbook Saturday morning at 9. Strike 1 to Chris Davis. Eaching tonight, toting a .221 average. Good power numbers though, 12 homers, 33 runs batted in.
Left-handed pitcher on the mound right now. The Red Sox are not shifting on Davis. Playing him the pull, but no shift.
Count evens at 2-2. Well, he had a strikeout in the first, gave up 2 hits, including a solo home run by Adam Jones, his 10th of the year. So it hooked into right field for a base hit. It was reaching out and sending that into right field. 3rd Orioles hit of the night.
Yeah, just about a one-handed swing that time by Davis as he gets the breaking ball from Wade Miley and is able to hook it and pick up the base hit. Normally that's a pitch you see a guy take maybe the other way, but you can see the plate coverage right there by Davis, and he pulls it almost one-handed for the line drive base hit.
1 down, 1 on for J.J. Hardy. Shortstop back with the Orioles again. They had some pretty major injuries to begin the year. Kind of weathered the storm and now have a lot of their guys back.
Yeah, they do look like a different lineup, don't they, Don, than they did the first time we saw them.
Much. The defense has been terrific in this series. Foul off to the right, and it's 1-2. Already signing a 3-year contract extension. Take him through 2018 here with the Orioles. Very good shortstop. Won 3 consecutive Gold Glove awards.
You look at the top of the 3 top defensive teams in the American League. It's Tampa Bay #1, Detroit #2, and Baltimore #3.
Hardy grounds it up the middle and by the dive of Pedroia into center field. Davis will take second on the base hit by J.J. Hardy.
That's now a 4-game hitting streak for Hardy as Miley does get the ground ball, but not in the location he wants. Right back up the middle, and a little first and second action right now for the Baltimore Orioles. Royer into the dive there, but little chance of making a play on that ground ball.
1 out, 2 on, and Steve Pearce coming up. Pearce batting out of the 8th spot in the order. Pitch 25 for Wade Miley, and it's in there for strike 1. Career highs in pretty much every offensive category for Pearce a year ago. Started all 7 postseason games last year for the Orioles. 102 games for him last year. 21 home runs and 49 RBIs, both career highs. That one sails away, and it's 2-1. Three and 1. Wade Miley able to get Delmon Young to fly out to right to begin the inning. Singles by Davis and Hardy. Now Wade Miley has fallen behind Steve Pearce, 3-1. And a swing and a miss.
A surprise pitch there, the changeup on the 3-1 count. Something Pearce was certainly not looking for there. There's the off-speed pitch right here by Miley, and he keeps it down in the zone, and it totally surprised Steve Pearce.
Liner that is into left center field for a hit. Davis had to wait to be sure, but he is going to try and score. Good throw from Betts, and it'll be close, and it is not. As in is Chris Davis with the second Orioles run.
Davis did not expect to be waved home because he was not running hard as he headed into third base. Here's the base hit by Pearce that's going to go out toward the center field. And you see Davis had to hold up to make sure the line drive was not caught. So he's not running that hard in the third. All of a sudden the third base coach waves him on, and he has to turn it on and still beats it. Now you'll see him freeze at second base right there, see if Bogaerts catches it, and then he just slows up. Then he sees the coach and says, uh-oh, I better get going on this.
Well, the Orioles get their second run of the game, lead it 2-0, 2 on, 1 out for Ryan Flaherty out of the 9 spot. 262 homers and 9 runs batted in. Flaherty also spending time on the DL this year. Right groin strain kept him out. And back on May the 8th. Bites this off foul and sends it to the screen. Down 0-2. Are you looking for ways to entertain employees or clients? Take them out for a night at Fenway Park to watch your beloved Red Sox. Visit redsox.com/groups for more information. Red Sox Nation not very happy in this series so far for those who made the trip down here. 0-2, grounded back to the mound. Miley will go to second base for 1 to first, not in time. They do get the runner at second base. That looked like it was headed to center field. Kind of threw it to an area, and it looked there for a minute like nobody was going to cover.
Well, the point is right here, it's probably Bogaerts who had coverage, but when he saw where the ground ball was, he had to hold up to make sure Miley got it. Now, when Miley gets it, he just turns and fires to the second base where Bogaerts is supposed to be. So I don't think there was a mix-up between Bogaerts and Pedroia. I think it's just the fact that the ball was heading in Bogaerts' direction. Then he was late getting to the bag once Miley caught it.
So first and third with 2 down. Hardy at third, Flaherty at first. Now Manny Machado. Second time through the Orioles order now for Wade Miley. Machado with a single to right field in the first inning, but promptly was picked off first base by Wade Miley. There's J.J. Hardy. Ryan Flaherty at first.
Not a very big lead at first base either for Flaherty. I mean, he has seen that pickoff move, and that will shorten you up a step. 2, 3 steps.
Machado pops it up. Foul ground. Napoli will go as far as he can over by the stands and make the catch. So the Orioles add another run through 2. Baltimore on top 2-0. Rico will highlight the 1975 Red Sox in honor of their 40th anniversary in the 61st game of that 75 season. Red Sox got shut out by the Orioles 3-0. Jim Palmer went the distance for the Orioles. Leading it off for Boston here in the third inning is Xander Bogaerts. Red Sox down 2-0 as they come to bat here in the third. Bogaerts, Betts, and Swihart scheduled to bat in the inning.
A two-seam fastball that time from Tillman. A little bit different. Two types of fastball, the cross-seamer and the two-seamer. Two-seamer will sink and run in right-handers.
Six-game hitting streak for Xander coming in. Since the end of May 31st to be exact, Xander Bogaerts with a .444 average that leads the American League. Stays alive and grounds it foul over by the Red Sox dugout.
They're facing a guy tonight he's 2 for 15 against, and one of those two hits a home run, but that's a lot of at bats off Tillman.
Line to left center field. Reimold over to make the catch. Over there quickly. That was hit well, but Reimold able to get there for the first out of the inning. Ace Ticket, the official Red Sox ticket partner, has the best seats at the lowest prices to all the games at Fenway, all with a 200% guarantee. Right now, Ace Ticket has special savings on all Red Sox games, including the Yankees. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. One out here in the third. Chris Tillman has started his night by retiring the first 7 Red Sox. And now deals with Mookie Betts. .234 average for Betts. 5 homers, 25 runs batted in.
You know, we've talked a lot this year about the expanding strike zone, and we've talked mostly about it being in, away, and down, but I also think it's higher than what it's been in years.
Popped up right side of the infield. Second baseman Ryan Flaherty takes charge, 2 down.
Would you agree with that, Don?
Yes, I would. I would definitely agree.
Do you remember that there was a time not too long ago where you could not throw the ball above the belt and get a strike call? It was from the belt to the top of the knees. It was unbelievable.
In the early 2000s, remember they made it sort of an initiative to get that high strike call back, and for that one season it appeared to be back, but then it did go away for a number of years.
A long time.
In there for strike one. That'll bounce in, and it evens at 1-1. Boston-based daily fantasy company DraftKings.com, the official daily fantasy partner of your Boston Red Sox. They're giving out $300 million in cash prizes. Enter promo code NESSON to play for free. Swihart hits it in the air down the left field line. Reimold on the run to the corner. Will get there. Makes the catch to end the inning, and Reimold giving it to a young fan after the grab. 2-0 Orioles through 2.5. youngster after a good running catch here by Nolan Reimold. Just make sure you get out of the way of it first and then got the souvenir.
Looked like he was getting ready to take a nap on Dad's shoulder, and then he got a baseball.
Things are looking up now. Wade Miley back on the mound for the bottom of the third inning. 2, 3, and 4. Nolan Reimold, Adam Jones, and Matt Wieters scheduled in the inning. Baltimore getting single runs in the first and second. Home run for Jones in the first. RBI single for Steve Pearce in the second. Struck well to center. Mookie Betts going back to the track at the wall. He leaps and cannot get it. Out of the yard for Nolan Reimold, his first of the year. And the Orioles take a 3-0 lead. Second home run of the night, surrendered by Wade Miley.
Nolan Reimold just joining the Baltimore Orioles a few days ago before this series, and what an impact he's had both defensively and now offensively. Straight away center field. Betts going back. He thinks he might have a chance. He goes into the jump, but runs out of real estate.
Second time Wade Miley has allowed 2 home runs in a game this season. Now Adam Jones takes a pitch outside.
As Mookie Betts going back to the wall. He knows exactly where he is, but obviously the ball way out of reach.
Jones has the other home run. He hit his 10th home run back in the first inning. Now a fly ball down the first base line, headed towards the seats and out of play.
The guys with the chairs. See the guy with the chairs?
Great speed.
Wow.
Great job to get out of the way to give Mike Napoli a chance.
They got all kind of stuff on too. Helmets, walkie-talkies. They got earpieces.
Chairs.
Chairs, and away they go.
Now Jones down the left field line. This will fall harmlessly foul. Broken bat for Jones, who will get a new one. Now back in the first inning, the first run of the game. Jones with his 10th home run of the year, 32nd RBI, puts the Orioles on top 1-0. It had a run in the second. RBI single by Pearce, and more recently a solo home run by Nolan Reimold. And it is 3-0 Baltimore with nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Breaking ball on the ground and off the glove of Sandoval down the left field line. Jones will head for second base. Hanley Ramirez just picking it up. And standing, going in very slowly, was Jones at second base. Knew he had a double all the way.
Yeah, once the ball got by Sandoval off that after the dive, he knew it was going to be an easy stand-up double. Tried the curveball against Adam Jones. Watch Sandoval go to his right, go into the dive, but the ball already deflecting off the top of his glove. We saw Machado make a great play down at third base earlier in the ball game, similar to where Sandoval was. That one gets down the line for the double.
Adam Jones at second base with nobody out. Matt Wieters coming up. Wieters struck out looking in the first. The lone strikeout so far tonight for Wade Miley. Six for 17 for Wieters since returning. And off the plate, it goes out to Pedroia at second base for the first out of the inning. And the ball to the right side. Jones gets to third base with now one out in the inning.
Now Wieters, you don't expect him to try to move the ball to the right side. You expect him to try to hit the ball out of the ballpark, but he does get the job done. by moving that runner to third base in less than 2 outs. Now the Red Sox early in the ball game have to bring the infield in.
One out with Jones at third base, and Delman Young takes a look at ball one inside. Swing and a miss. There is action in the Red Sox pen for the first time tonight. Stephen Wright is up. He would be the guy that could give you multiple innings right now for the Red Sox, as Miley has given up a run so far here in the third and trails 3-0. Ball two.
If I was to guess here, I would say that they'd probably be going on contact because you've got a left-hander on deck in Davis.
Strike called, and it's 2-2. Young on the ground with the infield in through the left side. From third comes Adam Jones, and the Orioles take a 4-0 lead. RBI single for Delman Young. Here comes Carl Willis.
Now Delman Young gets the curveball, and you see the infield in, so that leaves little range for the infielders, and Bogaerts cannot get to it. Run scores. Still only 1 out in the inning.
Wade Miley's pitching line brought to you by Ace Ticket. 2 1/3 so far, 8 hits and 4 runs. He's not walked anybody, struck out a batter. And about to deal with Chris Davis. Miley giving up a run in the first, a run in the second. 2 here so far in the third. Delman Young at first base, and here's Chris Davis, who singled to right field in the second inning. Fly ball deep right field, but should stay in the yard as Holt moves over to make the catch in front of the warning track. Getting under that was Davis for the second out of the inning.
That ball was toward the end of his bat. Looked like a breaking ball from Miley, and Davis. It sounded good on contact, but the ball was a little bit too far away from him for him to drive it. You see it getting to the outside part of the plate and toward the end of the bat. And that's the only reason it stayed in the ballpark.
And therefore, a strike to J.J. Hardy. Shortstop for the Orioles, who singled to center field in the second. Napoli holding on Delman Young at first base. Fly ball foul down the right field line, out of play. Talking about J.J. Hardy defensively winning 3 straight Gold Glove awards at shortstop. Well, the center fielder's done the same thing. 3 consecutive Gold Gloves in center for Adam Jones as well, as Hardy strikes out looking to end the inning with 2 more Baltimore runs. Orioles have a 4-0 lead. special that all you have to do to get $100 is open an Eastern free checking account. Learn more at easternbank.com/free checking. Red Sox with work to do, trailing 4-0 as they come to bat here in the visiting half of the 4th inning. Second time through the Red Sox order for Chris Tillman. Pedroia fouled out to Nolan Reimold in the 1st inning. A left fielder out there is a strike, and it's 0-2. Tillman 1 strikeout. Tiring the first 9 Red Sox that he's faced in the game. And has a 4-0 lead now. Hold off to the right, out of play. H.B. Hood salutes the Red Sox Foundation for its commitment to 4,900 accredited charities throughout New England. Line to center and in for a base hit for Pedroia. First base runner of the night for the Red Sox on their first hit. Let's check in with Garrett Austin.
Hey, thanks, Don. For the 2nd straight season, Brock Holt has appeared at every position other than pitcher and catcher, and it happens to be his 27th birthday today. A few weeks ago when we were in Texas, I had the chance to talk with Brock's mom, Galen, and his sister, Shelby, and they told me that Holt has always wanted to be a baseball player, and when he was little, he used to use everything as a bat, and he would get upset if somebody changed the channel and anything baseball was on. They also told me that Holt loved going to watch the Rangers, and Don, his mom, told me that it was so special for him to play at the Rangers ballpark where he used to go when he was a kid.
Well, certainly a thrill for him to be there, and certainly a thrill for his family to be able to see him play there. One of the last road trip for the Red Sox as Holt bats here with Pedroia at first base. Flied out to deep left field in the 1st inning in the warning track, but was retired.
Kind of like a dream, isn't it, for a guy like Brock Holt? You live in Texas, you go to Texas Rangers ball games, you admire their players, and then you finally get a chance to play there, even though it's in a visiting uniform. Pretty special feeling.
Fouls this one off Wieters, and it makes his way back to the backstop. 1-2. '50th pitch coming up here for Chris Tillman with nobody out in the 4th inning. Sprayed foul off to the left, out of play.
I remember when I was in the minor leagues, Don, playing in the Angel organization and being in the Texas League, playing in places like El Paso and Midland, and I used to make believe that I was playing at Fenway Park, because I had played there in high school in a sandlot tournament. And I used to make believe that I was playing at Fenway Park in the minor leagues. That's because I grew up in Boston. I went to Fenway as a kid.
So how much better was it when you actually played at Fenway Park?
Well, it's pretty good. I was in the big leagues. Yeah, it was a lot better than Midland or El Paso, that's for sure. Nothing against those two places, but the big leagues was a little better.
A little bit of travel in that league, too, as I recall.
Ooh, a lot of travel. All bus rides.
On the ground by the dive. Pierce at first base into right. Heading for third is Pedroia. And Brock Holt on his 27th birthday has got himself a base hit, and the Red Sox have something going here.
6 straight games now for Brock Holt as he gets it by Steve Pierce at first base. With Pedroia on first base, he has to hold him on, then bounce off a couple of steps. That's not going to be enough, and Pedroia just continues on in third. So the Red Sox trying to do some damage here in the 4th inning.
Runners at the corners, nobody out. Hanley Ramirez coming up. Hanley grounded out to Manny Machado at third base in the 1st inning. Napoli with 13 home runs on the year. 5 of 9 runners from third with less than 2 outs. Joy at third with nobody out, and Brock Holt at first. In the dirt, gathered by Wieters nicely, 2-0.
You know, Wieters is so good behind the plate, and he's such a tall guy for a catcher. You don't see a lot of big, tall catches. Carlton Fisk certainly comes to mind, a Hall of Famer, but Wieters also very tall, and it makes it really difficult for them, you know, to get down on the ground, get those knees down, block balls, catch balls in the dirt.
He's won 2 Gold Gloves in his career. Now Tillman falling behind 3-0. He retired the first 9 Red Sox in a row. Back-to-back base hits here in the 4th, and now behind Ramirez 3-0 with David Ortiz waiting on deck. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded.
But here's where the Red Sox have to strike. You know, the middle of the lineup, Ortiz, Napoli, Sandoval, they have all scuffled. And John Farrell was talking about that this afternoon. He said, you know, we just got to get these guys in the middle of the lineup swinging the bat. And here's a perfect opportunity now with the bases loaded and nobody out.
Single by Pedroia, single by Holt, a walk by Ramirez. Bases loaded, nobody out. David Ortiz, a strikeout victim in the 2nd inning, 0 for 1. And a foul to the screen for strike 1. 4 for 4 with the bases loaded this season for Ortiz. Foul back and out of play. 0-2.
Ortiz upset with himself that he missed that pitch. It was a high fastball out over the middle of the plate.
Ortiz pops it up, shallow left. Incoming is Reimold. He will make the catch for the first out of the inning and fire back in. No advance for Pedroia. Too shallow there. Reimold in left. And there's the first out of the inning.
Now let's take a look at the 3 pitches of David Ortiz. And it was certainly a plan here by the Orioles. And the plan was to throw him fastballs up in the zone. First pitch, up and away, foul ball. Second pitch, up, foul ball. Third pitch, up. And the fly ball to left field.
One down here in the 4th inning. Frustration for Ortiz continues. Here's Mike Napoli now. Napoli to center field. Jones is out there waiting, and he makes the catch as Pedroia tags at third, heads home. Throw to second base is not in time, and the run scores. Red Sox on the board. A sac fly for Napoli with now 2 down. Picks up his 26th RBI. It's now 4-1 Baltimore.
Anytime you have the bases loaded, you're thinking about obviously the long ball, the grand slam. Napoli this time on a cut fastball will have to settle for the sacrifice fly.
Two down, first and second now for the Red Sox, and Pablo Sandoval the batter. Did he go? No, says Corey Blazer, third base umpire. Sandoval to left center field. On the move is Reimold, still going, and that's going to fall to the track in the wall as Holt will come around to score. Behind him, Hanley Ramirez trying to score. From first base, he will, and the Red Sox right back in it again. It's a one-run game. 4-3, Baltimore on top, but 2 runs driven in on the double by Pablo Sandoval.
Well, Sandoval picks up the changeup right here from Tillman. As you can see, it's a little bit off the outside part of the plate. Takes it to the opposite field. For a second, I thought Reimold might chase it down, but it gets by him, bounces, and a couple of runs come across from the Red Sox. So that's what we're talking about down the middle of the lineup. Has got to get something done. They do this time by getting a sacrifice fly and then the double, a drive in two.
Dave Wallace, a pitching coach out there for the Orioles. Tillman, second time through, a much different result than the first time through. So 2 down in the inning, 3 runs in for Boston. Right back in the game are the Red Sox, and here is Xander Bogaerts. Wind out sharply. Nolan Reimold to left field in the 3rd inning. Tillman coming into tonight with a 3-7 record, a 5.61 earned run average. Numbers you're not used to seeing. Red Sox getting to him here in the 4th inning finally. Now Bogaerts with a grounder. Tillman will field it barehanded and fires to first base for the out. But the Red Sox scored 3 times. It's 4-3 Baltimore. Red Sox getting 3 runs in the top half of this inning. It's now 4-3 Baltimore, and a pitch in there for strike 1 to Steve Pearce. Here's Flaherty and Machado expected here in the bottom of the fourth.
Miley right now on a very short leash. The Red Sox to come back to make it a one-run game. There is still action in the bullpen, so maybe one base runner, he might be out of the game.
And that action is Stephen Wright, who had been up last inning. Continues to throw. Here's a ground ball to third. Backing up with Sandoval. His throw is going to be in time, low and dug out by Napoli for the first out of the fourth inning. At Eastern Bank, being first feels like $100. Just open an Eastern free checking account the month of June and you'll get $100. Learn more at easternbank.com/free checking. One out in the fourth. Ryan Flaherty, the batter. And a ground ball to Mike Napoli down to first base. Two down here in the fourth inning.
It's exactly what Miley needed. A couple of quick outs, and certainly a 1-2-3 inning would be a huge advantage for him and the Red Sox.
Manny Machado coming up here. Singled in the first, fouled out in the second. Now bats with two outs, bases empty. It's now 5 in a row. Retired by Wade Miley. Machado takes ball one. Miley, who has won 4 of his last 5 decisions. Coming into tonight's action, a win last time out against Oakland. This is driven out towards deep left center field, and that ball is out of here. A blast for Manny Machado. Third home run of the night given up by Wade Miley. And the Orioles take the 5-3 lead. Got 2 quick outs, and then Machado takes him deep.
Yes, all the momentum the Red Sox gain in that 1/2 inning kind of goes away a little bit with the home run right here. Machado gets a fastball from Miley, hits his 10th home run of the season, and back to a 2-run ball game now for the Orioles.
Owen Reimold has one of the 3 Orioles home runs. As with a wild swing there, is down 0-2. Top 3 hitters in the order: Machado, Reimold, and Jones, all with home runs.
They were hitting a lot of home runs early in the season, then they calmed down a little bit.
He goes around and strikes out to end the inning. Third strikeout from Miley, but a home run from Machado has the Orioles on top 5-3. In between innings, some fireworks here. Wade Miley, who's not pitched well tonight, just gave up his 3rd home run, and in between innings, John Farrell over to basically, I think, tell him he is done for the night, and he gets into it here with Miley, and Miley not pleased at all, as you might imagine, and the two go down the runway together. See the rest of this.
Now you see Farrell follow Miley right down the runway. Miley is doing all the talking, really. I think Farrell was going over to tell him he's done. Miley didn't like it at all, and he just got right back in Farrell's face. That's not a good sign at all. And Farrell followed him down the steps, and they probably had words.
And if you're Miley, how can you complain?
No, you really can't. You can't complain. It has not been a good outing.
This is driven to left field. Reimold going back. Gets twisted up. Reaches up. Can't catch it. Up off the wall. The ricochet by him while Betts rounds second. He will hold there with a double to begin things here in the 5th inning. Now Reimold started over the wrong shoulder there and then could not get back to make the catch in left.
Oh, for his last 12 was Mookie Betts, but that will end as he gets an inside fastball finally, and we know he can handle that pitch. Nice effort by Reimold there, but over the glove, or under the glove, I should say, and off that left field wall. And that's not a good sign in the Red Sox dugout, and that's something that's going to have to be dealt with immediately after the game.
Runner at second to begin the 5th inning, and Swihart will take a pitch inside for ball 1. Miley back in the dugout now. Two and 0. Stephen Wright still warming in the pen for the Red Sox. 2-0 pitch is lifted foul down the left field line and out of play.
Those are the kind of things that happen on teams that are not winning. Frustration sets in with everybody. You can see Sandoval right now trying to calm Miley down a little bit. I think Miley is calmed down a little bit. He'll probably realize he made a tremendous mistake there, and they will have a discussion, I'm sure, as soon as this ball game's over. And it'll be a one-way discussion, I think, by that time. Farrell will do most of the talking.
And of course, we're not privy to the rest of that discussion that took place in the runway after they left the dugout area. 2-2 is down the left field line, foul again. Help NESN by taking a quick 2-minute survey and enter for a chance to win a VIP NESN experience at the ballpark next month. Visit NESN.com/survey during tonight's game for your chance to win. Mookie Betts at second base. Nobody out here in the 5th. Curious as to what Wade Miley was pointing to as far as when he was pointing to left.
I was thinking the same thing, and the only thing I can think of is you got somebody warming up there when the inning even starts. Well, you should have somebody warming up. And as I said, you know, I felt like he was going to be on a short leash last inning, and I thought he'd probably come out after the home run.
Yes. Yes to all of that. Still in the dugout here as the Red Sox try to come back again as they trail by 2 now. They get back within a run last inning. Momentum had definitely shifted against Tillman, and the Red Sox showed leadoff double, back at it again, and now a foul ball back below us. Swihart defending the plate there and getting a piece. Flat out to the warning track his first time up to Nolan Reimold in left field back in the third inning. Tillman retired the first 9 Red Sox that he faced, but quickly gave up 3 runs in the fourth inning. Swing and a miss, and Swihart strikes out. It's the second K for Tillman, 1 down.
Well, 3 home runs in this ball game by the Orioles. Adam Jones with the first home run. That was on a changeup from Miley. And then the home run by Reimold to center field. Then the home run by Machado on a fastball inside. Quite frankly, that's what I thought he was coming out of the game. And he kept him in there for the final out of that inning.
One out, Betts at second base, and Dustin Pedroia, the batter's got a hit tonight. A single his last time up. Came around to score. The Red Sox first run. 80th pitch for Tillman to 4 1/3. Well, don't miss WB Mason Extra Innings Live right after tonight's game. TC Eck and Steve Lyons will break down tonight's game. You'll hear from Wade Miley and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever. Who but WB Mason? Foul tip for strike 2. That's led this inning off with a double to left. Swihart struck out. Pedroia now down in the count, 1-2. Chop towards third base. Machado comes in, bare hands, and fires to first. He's got an amazing arm. There are 2 outs in the inning as Betts takes third.
Yeah. You got that right, Dad. 2 things. First of all, Machado playing routinely with the bare hand. That's not easy because that ball can bounce all over the place. And in the same motion, getting that much on the throw across the diamond to get the out on Pedroia. The Orioles have played just spectacular defense in this series. And here's another example. I mean, that barehanded play is not routine by any means.
Machado winning a Gold Glove in 2013. Betts took third, 2 down in the inning as Brock Holt now bats. And takes strike 1. Holt flied out to the warning track in left in the first inning. Single to right in the fourth and scored. Two balls and a strike. Batting with Hanley Ramirez waiting on deck. And a grounder to shortstop. J.J. Hardy is there. And Holt is retired. Red Sox waste a leadoff double by Mookie Betts and trail 5-3. Get ready for the bottom of the 5th inning. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Kia, and Stephen Wright into the game for Boston. Been warming up the last couple of innings and comes in as he appears in his 8th game of the year. 3-2 with a 3.65 earned run average, 19 strikeouts to 10 walks, and opponent sitting at 234 against Stephen Wright. Wright earned his. Well, he won the game on Sunday against Oakland, going 3 1/3 in relief of Buchholz, and pitched very well in that outing, coming off or out of the Red Sox bullpen in that contest after starting games for the Red Sox. Tonight's poll is presented by the Scion TC. Who is the best center fielder in baseball? Text 1 for Adam Jones. Sox 2 for Andrew McCutchen, or Sox 3 for Mike Trout. Text your answer to 536-536. Message and data rates may apply. One message per vote. Visit NESN.com/terms for terms and conditions and privacy policy.
Well, all 3 of those guys you could start a team around, right?
No doubt.
I still got to go with Trout, and that's in pretty good company with the other 2.
Adam Jones tonight has homered and doubled.
Last night, a couple of great catches in the game by Adam Jones against the Red Sox. First one off Mookie Betts. That one is almost routine compared to the next one.
There's a liner to left that is just foul.
Here's the one where he's blowing the bubble, goes into the dive, and once again makes a spectacular catch. I mean, he can play with the best of them out there. There's no question about that.
Look out. Jones getting out of the way. That one flutters up there. It is now 3-1. Jones, Wieters, and Young to bat here in the bottom of the 5th. There's ball 4, and Stephen Wright walks the first batter that he faces here in the 5th. So Jones down to first. Miley did not walk anybody. Well, he gave up 9 hits and 5 runs, 3 home runs. A little deeper look into the 3 center fielders we're talking about.
Only 5 major league seasons for Mike Trout. 3-time All-Star.
Wieters 0 for 2 tonight. Struck out looking in the first, grounded out to second base in the 3rd. Healthy hack there, but finds himself down 0-2. Napoli holding on Jones at first base. On a line on Miley again. 4 innings, 9 hits, 5 runs. Didn't walk anybody. Struck out 3. On the hook, he came in at 5-5. This one is a swing and a miss, or did he foul tip it? Standing at second base is Jones. Apparently, Wieters got a piece. So Jones back to the bag at first.
Take another look on the super slow-mo, and I didn't see any contact, did you?
I didn't either.
Like that ball just moved so much it looked like contact.
In there for strike 3. Kind of froze him there. First strikeout for Stephen Wright. It's time now for a game break, brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Tom? All right, Tom, thanks very much. A swing and a miss here for Delman Young. Baltimore on top 5-3 as the Orioles bat here in the bottom of the 5th inning. There's a leadoff walk for Adam Jones to begin the inning. Then Wieters struck out looking. Now Delmon Young down 0-1. Strike two. Fly ball center field, struck well. Mookie Betts going back towards the track, and he can't catch it. It's off his glove. Jones had to wait, but he's now coming around trying to score. The throw from Bogaerts is going to be in time. He is out. So Jones thought he was going to make the catch out there, and after Betts could not, it went off his glove. Bogaerts on the cutoff, and they're able to gun down Adam Jones at the plate.
Now the key here is Xander Bogaerts, the shortstop, who makes a very good throw from a cutoff position. There's the ball off Betts' glove. Now that's one that normally he would catch, but he quickly gets it back into the cutoff man. Now watch Bogaerts. No rush, no panic. Right over the top, one hop to his catcher, gives him a chance to catch the ball and prepare himself for the slide. So the relay well executed by the Red Sox that time.
It is a double for Delmon Young. Put out 8 to 6 to 2 at the plate. Chris Davis now bats with a runner at second and 2 down. Davis has singled to right and flied out to the warning track in right field. Orioles now have 10 hits in the game, now hitting the Red Sox 10-4. And a one hopper. Diving is Pedroia from his knee. Throws out Chris Davis. Dustin Pedroia with another spectacular play at second base. Orioles don't score. We're through 5. It's 5-3 Baltimore, and another nifty play turned in by Pedroia. Sox into the 6th inning we go, and Hanley Ramirez leading it off. There's showing bunt and pulls it back, take a ball low and away. Chris Tillman's pitching line brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. 5+, 4 hits, 3 runs. He's walked the batter, struck out 2. Ramirez grounds it softly down the third baseline, and that'll go foul. Really kind of limping coming out of the box.
Got still not 100% from the foul ball off his knee the other night. Remember last night he was the DH. He's tied up inside with a fastball right here, and not at 100% yet for Ramirez.
Grounded out to third base in the first inning. Walked and scored in the fourth inning.
Going back a couple of nights ago, first game of this series, and that's when Hanley took one off the knee, off the left knee. He almost collapsed on his last swing. Did you see that? He took a swing and almost went down.
Fouls it off to the right, out of play.
This is the last swing that he took right here, and you can see almost going down, so still pretty painful for him.
Fouls it off again up to the upper deck here, off to the right. Ramirez, Ortiz, and Napoli. Brad Brock up in the pen for the Orioles. Close pitch. Called the ball.
Now, the only reason that pitch was called the ball is because Wieters was set up outside and had to come back inside to make the catch with the glove going away from the plate. That's the only reason.
Did he go? No. They check with Chris Guccione, first base umpire, and it's now a full count.
Tried the change up here, and good hold up there by Hanley Ramirez. As once again you can see the left knee bothering him.
Inside, Ramirez almost got hit. He'll head down to first base.
Again, that ball's supposed to be away. Almost got the elbow of Ramirez. I don't think Tillman's too long for this game.
Orioles going into a shift here with David Ortiz coming up. Here's the shift on Big Papi, and they keep it close to the infield. David 0 for 2 tonight. He struck out, fly to left, and now time called, and the catcher, Wieters, headed out. Sunday in an all-new NESN clubhouse. Clay Buchholz shows D'Angelo Ortiz his fastball grip. Joe Kelly takes the hot seat on Small Talk. We go one-on-one with Boston Pedicab for Fenway Jobs. NESN Clubhouse comes to you commercial-free Sunday at noon, presented by Delta Dental of Massachusetts. They do not hold Ramirez on, although right in behind him is Pierce at first base. Two and 0.
Last time they got David Ortiz with high fastballs. The first two pitches of this at bat, changeups down.
Ortiz fouling it back. 92 on that fastball, was over the outside corner. Napoli waiting on deck. Leadoff walk by Hanley Ramirez. Now a 2-1 to Ortiz. David hits a fly ball to left field. Nolan Reimold over and under. He'll put it away for the first out of the inning.
Well, if you notice one thing in the last 2 at bats to Ortiz, he has seen nothing down inside. Now he's seen a couple of pitches down. They were both changeups and not strikes. The first 2 pitches this at bat. Then they decide to go at fastballs. Fastball away to the outside part of the plate, and this one a little bit higher, and the result, the fly ball out to left field. So nothing inside for David Ortiz in 2 at bats tonight.
1 out, runner at first base, and Mike Napoli the batter. Napoli takes strike 1. Grounded to shortstop in the second. And a sac fly to center field in the 4th inning. Tillman about to reach the century mark in pitches thrown. Same general area, but this time it's a ball. 1-1. They do not hold on. Hanley Ramirez at first base. Strike 2. Napoli does not think it's a strike.
Yeah, every pitch so far in that same general area, down and away from Napoli, he has really not had a good pitch to hit yet.
Two and two. Napoli with the sac flies last time up, picking up his 26th RBI of the year. Down the right field line, foul.
That's the closest thing right there to a good pitch that Napoli has seen in this at bat. At least it's a hittable pitch. Away from him, but does get some of the plate.
Napoli will pop it up in the infield left side. Machado from third base handles the second out of the inning. I want to remind you to stay tuned following WB Mason Extra Innings Live for Red Sox Final, presented by Uno's. TC Eck and Steve Lyons will recap the night across Major League Baseball. Runner at first with 2 outs in the 6th inning, and Pablo Sandoval coming up. Sandoval grounding out to first base in the 2nd, and then he doubled to drive in a pair in the 4th inning. Swing and a miss at a high fastball. Sandoval sure sees a healthy diet of those high fastballs.
Especially early in the count, because they know he's going to swing early. He doesn't see many strikes, called strikes on the first pitch.
0-2 and even higher this time.
Yeah, just climbing the ladder. See what they decide to do. See if they decide to go back upstairs with him or bounce a breaking ball. Looks like another fastball.
How high can you go? Not chasing that. It's up and away. Sandoval lines it to right. It's in for a base hit in front of Delman Young. Up to second base goes Hanley Ramirez. And a base hit for Sandoval, his second hit of the night. Here comes Buck Showalter out of the dugout.
Well, Sandoval finally gets the fastball that's down a little bit. About let a high and puts on the line to right field. So while they go out and take out the pitcher, the Red Sox are also going to check on Hanley Ramirez at second base.
Masai Takahashi out there with John Farrell to check on Hanley Ramirez at second. A pitching change here from Baltimore. Red Sox trailing by 2, but threatening here in the 6th inning. Back at Camden Yards in Baltimore, Red Sox have 2 on with 2 outs, and Xander Bogaerts the batter. And he'll take ball 1. As the new pitcher Brad Brock into the game here. 21st appearance, 3-2 with a 4.23 earned run average, 35 strikeouts to 11 walks. Opponents hitting at .212 against Brock. Ramirez at second, Sandoval at first, and here's a liner up over the outstretched glove of Hardy. Round from second comes Ramirez. Here comes the throw from left, and Hanley will be safe. Able to get in safely is Hanley Ramirez. Red Sox trail by a run.
That's a gamble taken right there by the Red Sox. Now remember, they went out to check on Ramirez. He said he was fine. So if he says he's fine, that means the third base coach has to take for granted that he can score on a play like this. The line drive up over the head of the shortstop. Butterfield waves him home. And there's the slide at home plate inside the tag. Wheatus pointed to the dugout right away. He wanted this thing challenged. And Ramirez pointed to home plate saying, no, I got it. Here's Wheatus pointing to the dugout, as you can see, challenging.
Tying run now in scoring position for the Red Sox at second base. 2 on, 2 down. And Mookie Betts the batter. Mookie with a double his last time up to left center field. Now he takes strike 1.
So if you're Hanley Ramirez at second base in that situation with 2 outs, you have an advantage because you go as soon as the bat starts to go. And if there's contact made, you should have that extra jump going toward home plate. That's why he was waved home.
In tight for ball 2.
Man on second base. As soon as you see that bat start to go, you're off. And that's exactly what Ramirez did. He makes a pretty good cut around third base. And there's the slide into home plate. Foot gets there before the tag of Wieters. No challenge.
Big swing there for bats. A big secondary lead out there, too, for Sandoval. Wieters hopped up like he may throw in that direction. So Sandoval scampered back to the bag.
Yeah, and they had Flaherty heading in that direction, didn't they?
Yeah, he was coming in.
Sandoval's got a huge lead at second base.
Swing and a miss. That one by Betts. But the Red Sox get a run, get a little closer. It's now 5-4 Baltimore after 5.5. Southwest.com. Back at Camden Yards in Baltimore, where the Red Sox have grabbed a run in the top half of this inning, and it's now 5-4. Orioles have the lead. Stephen Wright back on the mound, his second inning of relief, as J.J. Hardy leads it off and takes a pitch up top for ball 1. Hardy singled to center field in the second, struck out looking in the third. We'll take the strike, a high strike at that. Wade Miley going 4 innings, giving up 5 runs on 9 hits. No walks, 3 Ks. He is on the hook right now for the Red Sox. Tonight, after Red Sox coverage on NESN Sports Today, Adam Pellerin and Nicky Reyes will have a recap of tonight's game in Baltimore, and the Patriots made a surprising roster move today. Find out what is on tonight in NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do. Ball gets away, and the throw down to first will be in time on the strikeout. Right, second K.
Now, fortunately, that ball didn't roll that far from Swihart, and he was able to get the runner at first base. There's the swing and a late reaction. You know, Hardy didn't pick the ball up right away, and that's one of the reasons he's out at first base. And he picked it up right away, he might have had a chance to beat it.
One out for Steve Pearce. 1 for 2 in the game. Pearce with a single to center field in the second. Grounded out to third base in the 4th inning.
Red Sox again in that position in the infield where they have Napoli playing about halfway between first and second. And again, any kind of ground ball that's hit hard, those infielders have to wait for him to get back to the bag.
Strike call. That was very high.
Yeah. I'd be shaking my head too.
Popped up into shallow center field. Mookie Betts coming in. 2 down here in the 6th inning as Steve Pearce retired. Here comes Ryan Flaherty, the number 9 man. Help NESN by taking a quick 2-minute survey and enter for a chance to win a VIP NESN experience at the ballpark next month. Visit NESN.com/survey during tonight's game for your chance to win. And Miley on the hook right now. 2 down in the 6th inning as Ryan Flaherty takes strike 1.
Well, you know, by him still being on the bench like he is, it tells me that he realizes he made a mistake. He's out there to show his teammates that he made a mistake and his manager. Now, I can't get into his head. There's no question he made a major mistake earlier in this ball game, getting into it with John Farrell. But most of the time, when you're that upset, you go up to the clubhouse and you're not seen for the rest of the game.
And most of the time, that is the case with the starting pitcher as well.
And that clubhouse takes some abuse.
There's a ground ball that Wright is able to flag down on the backhand and throws out Flaherty. Had a 1-2-3 inning, did Stephen Wright in the 6th. That's on to the 7th, 5-4 Baltimore. For you and your guests, call 877 Red Sox 9 or email premiumsales@redsox.com for more information. Brad Brock back on the mound again for the Orioles. Into the 7th inning we go. Blake Swihart leads it off and takes ball 1. Swihart flied out to the warning track and left in the 3rd. Struck out swinging in the 5th inning. Red Sox back within a run here as they bat in the 7th. Down the left field line, Reimold running over, but he won't have a play. Strike on the outside corner with that 93-mile-an-hour fastball. Brock facing two batters coming in the sixth inning for the starter Chris Tillman. Gave up a single to Bogarts and then struck out Betts. Now an inherited runner to score and Hanley Ramirez, and the run charged to Chris Tillman. Orioles starter went 5 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, walked 2, struck out 2. Has a chance for a win tonight. There's a ground ball by the mound to Flaherty at second base. Swihart the first out of the 7th inning. Tomorrow at 5:30, tune in to Friday Night Fenway for an exclusive interview with John Farrell. Be sure to visit Jillian's Lucky Strike Boston before every home game in June for a chance to be selected as Budweiser's fan of the game. Budweiser, brewed the hard way. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. One out in the 7th for Dustin Pedroia. He is fouled out, singled, and grounded out. Oh, and 2. Pretty good rip right there for Pedroia.
He got his pitch, which was middle in, fastball middle in. Big swing, but no contact by Pedroia.
Swings and hits it out towards deep left center field. Reimold going back on the track to make the catch up against the wall. Pedroia gives it a ride, but he's out number 2.
Well, they made a mistake on location with pitching. Almost paid for it that time. Pedroia gets into it, but not quite enough as Reimold's able to make the catch. They wanted to go away again. It stayed inside, and Pedroia puts a pretty good charge in it, but there's Reimold right up against the wall. Pedroia hoping right there that it's got enough to get out of here.
2 down in the 7th inning. Brock Holt, the batter, and he takes strike 1. Holt has flied out to left, singled to right, grounded out to shortstop last time up. 1 for 3 night on his 27th birthday. Two and 1. Drop the bunt down, fouls it off.
Trying to go down that third base line. Machado was back deep with 2 outs of the inning where he should be. And Holt trying to drop one down the third base line. See how deep he is right there. And Holt trying to get on base for Hanley Ramirez.
Fouls it back to our left, still 2 and 2. See his 6th pitch in this at bat. Swihart grounded out to begin the inning. Pedroia flying out deeply to left of the warning track. 2 down in the top of the 7th inning. Did he go? Yes, he did. They ring him up. Corey Blazer, third base umpire, says Holt swung. The 1-2-3 7th. It's a 5-4 Baltimore lead. Get to Nissan's ride of your life for exciting performance and bonus cash. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Bud Light, stay in the game and drink responsibly. The Scion TC. And by Uno, committed to the craft of pizza since 1943. Stephen Wright back on the mound again. He has been in this game since the 5th inning. Manny Machado with a big cut there to begin things in the bottom of the 7th. Machado's had a 2-hit night, a single and a solo home run. Oh, 2.
That's the slowest knuckleball I've ever seen him throw. 58. He'll throw in the high 50s, the mid 60s, and the 70s. I mean, it's like that one was never going to get to the plate. What was that?
47.
47.
Slower and slower. Now it's on the ground to third. Sandoval. Throw off the mark and into the crowd. They will give second base to Manny Machado to begin this bottom of the 7th inning, and Sandoval threw that one away.
That's a big play, especially in a one-run game late in the game like this. Going to his left, plenty of time to spin around, get squared up with first base, and just airmails the ball to first base. Napoli off his glove, and second base awarded to Machado, so that's huge.
8th error for Sandoval in the year. Machado in scoring position, nobody out. Nolan Reimold. He's fly to right, homered, and struck out. Chaz Rowe, we saw earlier in this series, warming now for the Orioles. Also saw Zach Britton come in for 5 outs earlier in this series. Back-to-back outings that he has done that for the Orioles for 5-out saves. High for ball 2. Red Sox have action of their own. Shinichi Tozawa warming in the pen. Ball 3. Everything has been up here. Patient at bat so far for Reimold. Machado at second base. Nobody out. The 3-1 pitch coming. Swing and a miss there. Almost come out of his shoes after that one.
No trying to move the runner along on that, and they shouldn't be on a 3-1 count like that. Go for it.
Fouled off to the right out of play. We'll do it again. 3-2. Well, tomorrow at 6, don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Joseph Abboud, available at Men's Warehouse. Alex Spear will join TC and Steve Lyons to recap the 2015 MLB draft. Adam Jones on deck. Nobody out here in the inning. Ball 4, and he loses Reimold. The first 2 have reached here for the Orioles. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time, highlights, live look-ins, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Now it is Adam Jones with 2 on, nobody out here in the 7th. Jones has homered, doubled, and was the first batter that Wright faced in the 5th, and he walked against Stephen Wright. Now a drive to left has Hanley Ramirez back to make the catch in front of the track. Tagging are both runners. The second base runner will go back to first in Reimold, but taking third is Machado. Reimold realized about halfway to second base he wasn't going to be able to get there. On the fly out to left, Machado gets to third.
That's a pretty good play by Hanley Ramirez, too, because he wants to keep the double play in order to get the Red Sox possibly out of this inning. So instead of trying to get the man in third, he goes back into second. And that means Reimold has to go back to first base to keep the DP a possibility, at least, for the Red Sox.
First and third, one down. Matt Wieters the batter. 0 for 3 in the game. And takes a high strike. Wieters striking out in the first and the fifth. Wrapped around a ground out to second base in the third. Fouled off 0-2.
As the play we were talking about where Ramirez, you can see both runners right here. Now back to tag up is Machado at second base. Ramirez makes the play. He's not going to get the man at third, so he gets the ball into second base to keep that double play in order.
One out, first and third. Wieters to right. Holt going back, and he'll make the catch. Tagging at third and scoring is Machado. An insurance run here for Baltimore. The Orioles take a 6-4 lead on a sac fly from Matt Wieters. And here comes John Farrell. So Tazawa has been warming in the pen, and Stephen Wright has been in this game since the fifth inning. He goes 2 2/3 of relief, and the Red Sox will make the pitching change. So Wright coming out of the game, responsible for Nolan Reimold, who is at first base with 2 outs in the inning.
We've seen good defense in this series by the Baltimore Orioles, and an error in this inning really hurts the Red Sox. The leadoff ground ball to Sandoval at third base. He throws it away. Machado gets in a scoring position. He eventually comes around to score on the sacrifice fly, and again makes it a 2-run ball game.
The Orioles getting a run in this inning without the benefit of a hit in this inning. As Tazawa makes his way in, let's check in with Garen.
Hey, thanks, Don. Orioles catcher Matt Wieters is returning from Tommy John surgery this season. I spoke with him yesterday, and he told me that he feels confident at and behind the plate. Wieters also told me that he didn't realize how much he would miss playing, but it's so nice to be back. And he did have some advice for Christian Vasquez. He said, take your time. Don, his return has been a huge addition to this team.
Yeah, no doubt. Wieters certainly a big part of this Orioles club, and they missed him for the first month plus. And talking with Christian Vasquez before the game as to what to expect in the Tommy John surgery area and how long it's going to take him to get back. And boy, the Red Sox certainly miss Christian Vasquez.
They sure do, and that kind of helps. You know, it helps. Vasquez was a little bit taken back. Wieters kind of sought him out on this and really wanted to talk to him about it. I mean, he recognized last year what Vasquez could possibly be, and you know, a guy that's going through the same type of operation. Awfully nice of Wieters to call him over. Young kid who would be embarrassed or, you know, afraid to go up to a veteran player like Wieters and even ask him about it. So Wieters reached out. They talked about it, and I'm sure that helped Vasquez up.
Vasquez has been traveling with the team quite a bit this year. And back in spring training, very much looking forward to watching him play all year, but unfortunately not happening this season for Vasquez. Boston Red Sox baseball on NESN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Your local Subaru dealers. Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. And by Nissan. Get to Nissan's ride of your life for exciting performance and bonus cash. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Junichi Tazawa into the game here for the Red Sox. His 29th appearance, 0-1 with a 1.40 earned run average. 26 strikeouts, 5 walks, and opponents hitting at 187 against Tazawa. Inherits a runner at first base. With 2 outs, here is Delman Young swinging at the first pitch, hitting a high fly ball to center. Mookie Betts is there and puts it away. One pitch and the final out of the inning for Tazawa. We head to the 8th as the Orioles add a run, take a 6-4 lead. Run in the bottom of the 7th inning. Some changes for the Orioles. Nolan Reimold moving from left to right field, and David Lowe is now in left field. This is the defensive moves that we've seen all series from the manager Buck Showalter here late in games. And the new pitcher is Chaz Rowe. Rowe comes on here for Brad Brock. And the Ramirez, the first batter that he will face here in the 8th inning. Brock ends up going an inning and a third of relief and gave up a hit. 9th appearance for Rowe, 1-0 with a 0.75 earned run average, 14 strikeouts to 4 walks, and opponents hitting at just 146 against him. As Ramirez takes the strike. So for Brock, an inning and a third, a hit, no runs, no walks, and he struck out 2. Relief of Chris Tillman, the starter tonight for Baltimore. Fouled back, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. David Ortiz, then Mike Napoli, scheduled here in the top half of the 8th. Ramirez down the right field line, moving over is Reimold into the corner area, and Reimold will make the catch. One down in the 8th.
Plenty of action in this game tonight, and especially from the Orioles home run hitters in this ball game. 3 of them for the Orioles. Then Miley snapping in the dugout once he was taken out of the game by John Farrell. Sandoval going to the opposite field to get the Red Sox back in this ball game. Stanley Ramirez will score.
David Ortiz with 1 out in the 8th. Poppy 0 for 3. He has struck out, flied out twice to left. Good cut there, a 94-mile-an-hour fastball away.
Notice the location again, away. Ortiz very late on that swing.
Ortiz drives this deep and far to right field. Back goes Reimold, and that is long gone. Big Papi David Ortiz with his 7th home run of the year brings the Red Sox back within a run again.
Well, good for David Ortiz as he really catches a break here as far as I'm concerned. He gets the Red Sox back within 1 with his 7th home run of the season. But what I'm questioning is why a breaking ball at that point. I mean, I'm glad for Ortiz that he got it, but they have been throwing fastballs by him away all night long. They try a breaking ball, and they speed up the bat of David Ortiz, and he takes it way out of the ballpark.
One down, base is empty thanks to the home run by David Ortiz. Now it is 6-5 Baltimore as Napoli 0 for 2 with a sac fly in this game. Fouls it off and evens a count of 1-1. Alltown, New England's premier convenience retailer, is committed to supporting the communities they serve. For every home run the Red Sox hit the rest of the season, Alltown will donate $500 to Boston Children's Hospital. Visit alltown.com for a location near you. Fouled off, and it's 1-2. Chaz Rowe giving up the home run to David Ortiz. Now ahead of Napoli, 1-2. Napoli fouling it back again.
And Don, I've been charting the pitches all night long to David Ortiz, and mostly have been fastballs, and fastballs either up in the strike zone or away from him. Last time up, there were a couple of changeups that were down in the zone. Then they went right back up to the fastball away. They got ahead of him with fastballs away this time. Then they throw him a breaking ball, and Ortiz loses it.
Napoli fouling it off to the right. Now to play again. Battling here against Chaz Rowe in a good battle. Tonight's game summary is brought to you by Xfinity. Wade Miley chased from the game after just 4 innings in this tilt as Ortiz just homered, his 7th of the year. Tillman, the pitcher of record right now for the Orioles, went 5 2/3. Orioles with 3 home runs in this game. As Napoli strikes out, rising fastball at 94 gets him 2 down.
Napoli on a fastball inside. It was supposed to be away, but it stays on the inside part of the plate, and they pick up the strikeout to Napoli. So they changed their pattern that time on Napoli. They have been staying away from him. That time inside, and they get him.
Make Insurance, great service, great coverage, and a great price for auto, home, or life insurance. 2 outs for Pablo Sandoval. Sandoval grounding out in the 2nd. He doubled in the 4th, singled in the 6th. Double in the 4th inning, knocked in 2 runs. Chaz Rowe's been operating at 93, 94 miles an hour since coming in. Foul tip, 1-2.
See if they try to go upstairs or bounce a breaking ball with Sandoval.
In the air to center field. Adam Jones coming in. He'll put it away. A home run by David Ortiz get the Red Sox closer. It is now 6-5 Baltimore as we head to the bottom of the eighth. Baltimore on top of Boston. Tazawa back on the mound. Chris Davis standing in. And he'll take strike one. 93 from Tazawa. Davis, Hardy, and Pierce scheduled to bat in the inning. They have gone. They check no, says Corey Blazer, third base umpire. Get immediate care without leaving the ballpark at the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center First Aid Station, located beyond Section 12 on the lower concourse. BIDMC is the official hospital of the Boston Red Sox. Davis 1 for 3 in the game. Single and scored a run back in the second inning. Now grounder into the shift. Pedroia in short right field. Throws out Davis for the first out of the inning. Bob's Discount Furniture goes to bat for the Jimmy Fund again this year. Bob will donate $1,000 to the Jimmy Fund for every game saved this season. Everybody saves at Bob's. Bob's Discount Furniture, quality, choice, and value. Learn more at mybobs.com. Zach Britton, the closer for the Orioles, getting ready in the pen. Looking ahead to the top of the ninth inning, Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, Blake Swihart, a scheduled trio. J.J. Hardy on the ground, and Bogaerts diving, gets up, his throw will be in time. Nice play by Xander Bogaerts at shortstop, a diving play, then he gets up and he throws out Hardy.
Well, fantastic defense here by Xander Bogaerts, completely outstretched on that, up very quickly, and a strike to Mike Napoli at first base. We've seen two great plays from the Red Sox middle infielders tonight. This latest one by Xander Bogaerts, one by Pedroia earlier in the ball game. Here's the one by Dustin Pedroia. That ball was by him, and he's able to make the out at first base. So the middle infielders defensively doing it tonight for the Red Sox.
Two down in the eighth inning, and it brings up Steve Pearce. There is strike one. Pearce with a single back in the second inning to drive in a run. Cincinnati is grounded out to third and flied out to center. On the ground softly towards Sandoval. He'll charge in on the run and in time to get Pierce. A 1-2-3 8th inning. It's on to the 9th. It's 6-5 Baltimore. Matched up against Joe Kelly. This closer look is brought to you by FW Web. Selection, expertise, solutions, and more at FWWeb.com. Blue Jays playing great baseball. Blue Jays heading into today's action, having won 8 straight games. And Joe Kelly will try to tame that offense tomorrow night at Fenway Park. Here is Xander Bogaerts to lead it off in the 9th against the Orioles closer Zach Britton into the game. 25th appearance, 0-0 with a 1.82 earned run average. He is 16 out of 17 in save opportunities. About to strike out to walk, 32-4. And opponents hitting at .215 against Britton. Bogaerts grounds one back to Britton, who will fire to first base for out number 1 of the 9th. Time now for tonight's T-Mobile game changer, and it was the error at third base which started the inning. In the 7th inning that gave the Orioles the 6th run that they have, charged to Pablo Sandoval, his 8th of the year. That runner, Manny Machado, would end up scoring. And the Orioles are holding on to a 6-5 lead now with 1 out in the 9th. Now Mookie Betts, 1 for 3. Strike 1. Britton has converted 12 consecutive save opportunities. Betts hits it on the ground to short, where J.J. Hardy throws out Betts, 2 down. Let's take a look at the Toyota play of the game. One of 3 home runs in this game for the Orioles, and it was Adam Jones with his 10th of the year, a solo shot. Manny Machado and Nolan Reimold also with home runs in this game. And all of them were off Wade Miley, the starter, who is on the hook for this game. 2 outs in the 9th as Blake Swihart stands in. Grounder slowly towards third. Machado's throw is going to be in time. We'll have to wait and see. Swihart wants this challenged, and John Farrell wants it challenged as well. Very late call there from Chris Guccione. Took a very long look before making the call, and real delayed call there.
Let's take another closer look, see if Swihart's foot's on the bag. Yes, it is. Before the ball's in the glove, so I think he's going to be safe at first base, and this game will continue.
We've seen Machado make some very hard throws. That was not one of them.
No, it was not. I think Swihart surprised him a little bit going down that first baseline. My gut feeling, looking at this replay right here, that this game's going to continue.
Yep. Foot on the bag and the ball not yet in the glove. Safe at first. Tying run at first with 2 outs. Now the pinch runner at first for Swihart as De Aza will pinch run. And it gives Dustin Pedroia a chance here in the 9th inning.
Congratulating Swihart for the hustle down that first base line.
Pedroia 1 for 4 in the game, a single in the 4th. Swing and a miss for strike 1. The fastball at 95.
95 and sinking.
You see some late life. Swing and a miss. More of it in 96, 0-2.
Yeah, both pitches just about the exact same spot.
$22,840 standing here in Baltimore with 2 outs in the 9th inning. Pedroia stays alive. 7 for 11 against Zach Britton in his career. De Aza running at first base with 2 outs in the 9th inning. Another foul ball at the plate.
And staying with what he does best, and that's throw the fastball.
In the same general area now 4 times.
Yeah, everything has been down and dusted in this at bat.
Pedroia grounds it softly but foul. Bogart's grounded out. Betts grounded out. Swihart reaches on the infield hit. De Aza runs for him. Pedroia in a battle with Zach Britton. Trailing in the count 0-2. Pedroia strikes out, and the Orioles beat the Red Sox by a run and sweep this 3-game series as Zach Britton comes in to get the save, and the Red Sox do not win a game in this 3-game series from Camden Yards. Tillman will get the win, the starter in this game, as Miley takes the loss, and another save here tonight for the Orioles closer Zach Britton, and another frustrating night. Tom Caron from Baltimore.